Hello, my boys and girls, and welcome to another FM14 preview. And today we are looking at Arsenal, and wow. Haven't Arsenal had a great start to the 2014 Premier League season, sitting pretty at the top of the table. Do I think that they've got what it takes to win the league, to keep it up? I think their first team's good. I don't think they've got the depth. I'm going to go into that a bit later. Over the course of this video. First thing I want to say is Mesut Ozil. What a great signing. He was a panic buy, I'm not going to lie, I think he was a panic buy. But he was the best panic buy anyone has ever made and probably ever will make. I think at that point Arsene just needed to sign anyone he could. And Mesut Ozil came along at the right time. Unfortunately, it was in a position where Arsenal were already strong. The one position Arsenal did not need strengthening. But it would be foolish to turn down the opportunity to sign down. It would be foolish to turn down the opportunity to sign a player like Mesut Ozil, a world-class player. And to be honest, Arsenal needed that world-class edge on their team. I think they lack depth in defence, though. I think that's really going to let them down, and I think they lack depth up front. But let me jump in and show you who I'd sign if I was manager of Arsenal. And I think the main position they really need strengthening is the holding midfielder role. The main reason for that is because they haven't really replaced Patrick Vieira, and I think that's the reason why they haven't won a trophy in so long. They really need that physical presence to break up the play and turn the opponent's attack into an Arsenal attack. People argue with me, oh, Arteta can do that, Arteta wins the ball, but he's not physical enough to win balls that are in the air. If you're playing Stoke, Arteta's not going to go up against the likes of Peter Crouch and win the ball back, is he? You need someone a bit more physical, a bit more tougher. Although I think Arteta's great on the ground, I don't think he's good in the air. The players I would sign on the game, Daniele De Rossi. He's the best option, I think. He's a short-term option though, because he's 29, he turns 30 within a few weeks. But you can pick him up for 22 million. He's a great player. He's the best player. There's not much option out there for the defensive midfielder role, and in real life as well, there's not really that many great holding midfielders at the moment. Established holding midfielders, that is. But Daniel De Rossi is probably the best signing you can make on the game. I'll definitely snap him up. That's who I would sign. If you want a more longer term signing, not as good as De Rossi, but still pretty good, you can get Lars Bender. You can probably get Sven Bender as well. Lars goes for about 22 as well, 24 million. But he's going to stay that good for a lot longer than De Rossi. De Rossi will start declining in a couple of seasons. Lars Benders will still improve. If you want some cheaper options, you don't want to go out and splash the cash straight away. 9 million for Michael Bradley, 11 million for Claudio Jacob, and you can get Jusalai for 12 million, and he's a great player. I also want to show you Arsenal's transfer budget. I should have shown you that first. Arsenal start the game off 41 million if you start off with title challenge. You will probably get about 45 million if you go for winner, and 38 million if you go for top 4. So you've got cash there. To be honest, when you're managing a team like Arsenal, you can sign anyone you want. But these are just who I'd sign. These are my opinions. Centre back, I think, is the second most important place to strengthen. You've got Koscielny, you've got Mertesacker, who's not that good in the game engine because he's too slow. And you've got Vermaelen, who in real life he's dropped off, hasn't he? The injuries have really kicked him. But I think he'll be back. I think we'll see him playing top level football in the future. I think he's a quality defender. I think he's just been unlucky with injuries. But players on game who I would sign: Salvatore Pochetti, great player, very underrated. You can pick him up for about 18 million, quality player. If you want a cheaper option, you can go for Mark Bartra, who goes for dirty cheap. Very young, but he's going to improve so quickly. A great signing if you're managing a team like Arsenal. You can get him for about 9 million, maybe even less if you use your Del Boy negotiation skills. And this guy's another guy you might want to keep your eye on. Ida Alvarez Balanta. He won't want to come to you straight away, but use your magic. You can probably get him. He goes for about 10 million. Keep your eye on this boy. I think he's going to be the best player in FM14. Keep your eye on him. He's quality. Looks absolutely quality. Colombian legend. Striker is another position I think you might want to strengthen. I think Giroud's good enough for the first team. He's quality. You just want some backup, really. When I get you buy backup players, I like them young. So Timo Werner is probably the best choice. You can get him for about 5-6 million. Very pacey. Probably do well being tutored by Podolski. He's a good signing. Or you can get Luciano Vietto for about 5 million. But you've got to be quick because big clubs jumping him straight away. But he's a quality player for £5 million. There's probably others out there. You might not want younger options. Leave it in the comments if you know any other players you might want to sign for Arsenal. In goal, though, I think there's a position that you could strengthen because you've got Chesney, who's only 2.5 stars rated by your assistant. You can keep him for a year and try and sign Victor Valdez on a free at the end of the year, or even get him on the Bosnan. He's expensive though, wages wise. You'll get him for free, and he's also quite old, so he's short term. If you want someone long term and immediate, you can get Akinfeev for about 8 million. He's better than Chesney according to your assistant, and I think he actually is. He's a good signing, great signing for £8 million. Or you can get John Ruddy if you want to keep it English, domestic rules and all that. He's similar to Chesney, but he'll develop nicely. John Ruddy, I find in these games, develops so well. If you develop him right, he develops really well, so he's definitely one to get. One position you might want to strengthen, not your weakest area by a long shot at Arsenal, but you've got some great options available. Jordi Alba would come for about 25 million. You might have to pull a few strings to make him join though. Or if you want a cheaper option, you can get Fabio Quintrao for 10-11 million. So great choices. And I also think Gibbs is underrated in this game. Underrated as in his attributes are lower than they should be. I think in real life he's quality, but doesn't reflect in the game, so he's not good enough really in game. Also some great right backs as an option. You can get Marvin Montoya. I don't know why these Barcelona players go for it so cheap. You can get him for 6.5 million. Or if you want to keep it English, you can get Nathaniel Klein for about £10 million. Also Luke Shaw's there. I don't know how much he goes for. It's probably going to be quite expensive, but he's definitely one to keep an eye on. He's going to be quality in this game. So they're the players I would sign. Tactics wise, I would employ obviously the 4-5-1 fluid possession tactic. Doesn't matter how you play it, but you want to try and keep the ball. Have your holding midfielder as a half-back. That's why you really need a player like De Rossi in there, because then he drops back, he'll drop back and plays with the centre-backs really, gives centre-back support. That means your full-backs or your wing-backs can really push up the field, and then your inside forwards can cut inside, which is what you want them to do when you've got players like Walcott, Cazorla, Chambo and Podolski. You're really going to want them as inside forwards because they're not wingers really, they're inside forwards. They're going to want to come inside and play in the middle a bit, so you really want to encourage your fullbacks to push up. So that's probably a good reason to strengthen your fullback positions. Imagine if you've got Jordi Alba and Montoya there, you're really not going to be worrying about your defenders pushing up because they're going to do a good job. So that's why it's important to get that half-back role. I think that's why it's the most important role. I would play it as half-back with this formation. You could also play anchor man, or ball-winning midfielder. Advanced playmaker, you're obviously going to play Ozil, and you're going to want Wilshere playing the deep line playmaker role, sitting deep, controlling the game in a tempo, like Xavi does with Barcelona. Quickly show you the youngsters of the squad. You haven't got any outstanding youngsters who are going to become great players regardless, but you have got an incredible amount of youngsters who could become great players with nurturing. The first one to point out is Sergi Gnabry, quality player. You've got a lot there, Riyad Miyachi, and in the under 18 squad you've got Zelalem. Get Ozil to tutor him, he'll be quality, and Dan Crowley. So you've got no short of strength in the midfield, attack midfielder role, so you don't want to strengthen that. You've got youth that will come through and replace the likes of Ozil, etc. So you've got quality team there. Give it a go. Let me know if you're managing Arsenal and tell me how you do. Any players, leave it in the comments. I'll see you later guys. Bye!